What time did you get
Good morning. Late at night.
So now what are you going to get it? How would it
Late at night.
Hmm?
Late at night. Good morning. Today is the 11th day of Second Adar. The first day that we can read Megillah. If you can't read Megillah next week on Sunday, then you can start today. But you have to get a special permission from a halachic authority. In any case, it's also the 21st of March. And let's try to finish the second chapter of the mitzvah of Machatzit HaShekel in Derech Mitzvotecha. We're on page 132. We said yesterday that there are two forms of clarification, birur, and he's talking about the higher one, the one that is is lifting the sparks, or it's elevating them. The sparks of holiness have fell down, but it's the second form. And he brings us an interesting verse for this, but I guess it's later on. We'll see it in a few minutes. Okay. And the way that all elevation is done, all elevation of sparks is done, is through wisdom, we said, because wisdom has the quality of self-nullification, bitul, and that's how, when something encounters or is able to reach a state of self-nullification, it is extracted out of the husks. And that holiness is then returned. And it's not just returned, but like he said here, it can go all the way up to Atik. It can go all the way up to the highest level of the crown. And that's where it becomes closest to the Creator. I'm trying to find where we were. And we said that even though the light, the infinite revelation of God, Or Ein Sof, of itself is like a sovev, it's like it's an equalizer. Everything is equal in its eyes, but the level to which things rise depends on how much chokhmah they have. Depends on how much bittul, how much nullification they can muster. And then the light of, or the revelation, the infinite revelation of God, in that thing is more apparent. Ki or ein sof eno meir ela al yedei chokhmah. So I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, found it. V'hu ma'ateh levusho. So the infinite revelation of God cannot illuminate, it can't become apparent without wisdom. And it is the external garment that it wears. So you wear wisdom. Ever hear about it that way? You wear it, and then the light of the infinite inside can shine out. Because there's infinite revelation of Hashem everywhere. The question is only how much it can be revealed or not. And so we found that the wisdom is like a stone that you use to weigh the scales, to push down on one side. Lemishkal ba, and we said lemishkal in Aramaic also means to take out. To take out of it, using the wisdom you take out, because it's like an external garment. If this garment is transparent, so the revelation of godliness in this object or in this person becomes apparent. כמה גילוי אין סוף בעולם, שלפי גילוי החוכמה ומשקלה על דרך משל, כן יהיה מכוון גילוי האין סוף כנ"ל. So the more weighty the wisdom, which is kind of a it's like a oxymoron, because how can you say that something that's nullification is more weighty? Well, really, what we mean is that it's more transparent. The more transparent this garment that the thing is wearing means, the more wisdom in it. The more wisdom there is, the more nullification there is, and then it's like the weight is heavier to lift it up on the other side higher. Because as we said, the reason that the whole shattering of the vessels in the reality of chaos happened was because of the feeling of being in them, the feeling of separation. As it says in chapter 36, I believe, of Genesis, that there were 7 + 1 kings of Edom who ruled before the kings of Israel, which means Israel is like the rectified state, Edom is like the chaotic state. And so they ruled, and each king, it says, Vayimloch vayamot. He ruled and he died. He ruled and he died. Va'abirur, it says here, Genesis 36, 32 through 33. It's not 32 through 33, though. It's much more than that. It's seven verses. So there's a mistake here somehow. Va'abirur shalem hu sheyuchlelu bebchinat ayin uvitul. And the way to rectify them, to elevate them, is to include them in a state of nothingness and a state of nullification. Shezeh sod shema. And that is the secret of what we call the name 45, Ma. 45 Ma is equal to 45. And we said that we get this by filling Hashem's name, the letters of Hashem's name, with an Aleph. So we have Yud Vav Daled, that's 20. Hey Aleph, that's another 6, so that's 26. And then we have Vav Aleph Vav, which is 13. So we have 39, plus Hey Aleph, another 6, that's 45. Bitul al derech ma shekatuv v'nachnu ma. As we see that Moshe Rabbeinu said in his name and in the name of Aaron, of his brother, and we are not, we are nothing. Kayadua. V'lachen ha'birur al yedei shema. That's why all the clarifications, all the rectifications that continue to go on in the world are through this name Ma. And it's associated with wisdom. Why? Because Chokhmah is like the word, 2 words, Koach Ma, the power of nullification. That's how we understand it. It also, sometimes even without changing the letters, we say Chokhmah is Cheich Ma. Cheich is a palate. Kol Cheich HaToem. So the palate that tastes this, it's a taste of nullification. Like he has a sense, he has a good taste in nullification. Yesterday I saw this, he's younger than me, but he's older than most, guy who's not married yet. And he's been going on dates for years and years and years. And he doesn't have any strength anymore. He's like, it's not working. He says, just even to go out on a date, he says, last date he went out was like 6 months ago. And he's getting offers, but he's not interested. He doesn't want the heartbreak, the whatever, the whole process. He's not interested in it anymore. But he came to say what can be done, because at some level he understands that there's a problem. So I'm not a psychologist. I can tell some problems that he has, but it doesn't matter. The point is, how does he get married? It's not it's not so much how we're going to solve all his problems. Let his wife worry about that. But what can someone like this do? So it's in the Tanya. It says this very much. This chapter 33 in the Tanya, the big piece of advice of the Tanya. It says that when you feel that the weight of the world is too much on you, even if that weight is the weight of doing mitzvahs. For instance, this is a weighty mitzvah for him to get married. For everyone it is, but for him it's doubly weighty. So what should you do? So he says you have to see the entire world as if it doesn't exist, including all the mitzvahs. And then everything boils down just to one thing. What is that one thing? Belief in Hashem. That's it. That's Kima Hashem Elokecha Shoel Mimach. Kima. Ma Hashem Elokecha. What does he want? He wants you to nullify everything. Only believe that there's only God. That's it. Nothing else. Not a world, not my life, not me, especially not my responsibilities. All this is gone. I'm only left. What? Yeah, Chavukul. Tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh. That the tzaddik lives by his faith. He says, what does it mean by he lives by his faith? That he gets rid of everything except for his faith. And you don't do this forever, you just do it for a couple of minutes. And particularly you do it during Kriyas Shema. But in general. So I told him, look, you've done all you can. It's time to lift your hands up and say, I surrender. What does it mean, I surrender? It's your problem, Hashem. It's not mine. What does it mean, it's your problem? Your problem means that whatever you send me to, I'm happy. That's faith. Faith means whatever happens here, I'm not involved. I just do what I'm told. So I told him, if you really say this truthfully, honestly, inside yourself, and you give the reins to God, then I'm almost sure, I didn't say almost, I said, I'm sure that within a couple of days, some strange shidduch is going to come your way. Strange in the sense that you're like, huh? Why would anybody think that this was a reason to connect us? Whatever, something like out of the nowhere. And then you have to go out and you have to say, whatever happens, happens. I'm not a party to this. What does that mean? That if Hashem wants, I want this. How will I know that Hashem wants? That you'll want. That's it. And you don't get to say anything. But you have to really want it, because you have to really want this solution, because this is not Chabad, this is the opposite of Chabad. I told him to go read some stories from Rabbi Busher Freund to get into the mood. What does it mean to let Hashem handle things? He said at some point you have to say, what I'm trying to do is not working for whatever reasons. There's a million reasons why somebody wouldn't be able to get married. But if I want to get married, I have to be taken by the hand. That's to be taken by the hand. That's nullification. So nullification is a basis of everything happening. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu feels. Moshe Rabbeinu feels he didn't do anything. Hashem took him by the hand. I'm nothing. I didn't do anything. Hashem did everything. People are coming to him with complaints. He says, what are you coming to me with complaints for? I didn't take you out of Egypt. I didn't bring you into the wilderness. Hashem did all that. And they're like, what are you talking about? We don't see Hashem, we see you. He says, yeah, but it's a mistaken address. You have the wrong address. I'm not the address. The address is Hashem. Okay. So that's called Shema. שלזאת יכול להגיע ביטול גם במישהו יש ודבר ולהופכו אל העין. So even something that is completely being and separate can be transformed into something that's connected to God through this, by revealing its ayin, its nothingness. וכמו שכתוב מצווה ריש עין זין, and before there's a mitzvah here that a Kohen with a mum, with a blemish, should not serve in the temple. And there it says, al pasuk holechet chachamim yechakam. And there it's worth looking at it, but it's not so important. It doesn't say anything so much more, except for what we mentioned yesterday and today, that there are two forms of clarification. And here he means, with this verse, he means the higher form. So it's just telling us, I'm talking about the higher level of nullification. It's not the lower level. It's not just eating something. It's after you eat it, after it becomes part of you, now to be nullified to Hashem. And that's called in Mishlei, in Proverbs 13:20, holechet chachamim yechkam. If you walk with the wise, you become wise. Meaning that bittul has an effect on everything that's around it. V'zeu inyan birur hanitzozot, kamar bitul hayesh el ha'ayin. And this is what it means to clarify the sparks of holiness. It really means, and again, this is a Chassidic definition. Before Chassidus, nobody said this. The Ari said birur hanitzozot, birur hanitzozot, birur hanitzozot. And he said it's with Shema, and he said it's with what do you call it? With Chochmah, b'Chochmah yitbariru. But this whole connection, the bitul hayesh el ha'ayin, that's a Chassidic innovation. That's what it means. Because Chassidus wants to turn it into something practical that you can use. וכמה ניצוצות יתבררו, זה תלוי לפי ערך המשכת כוח מה המברר. And how many sparks will actually come out all depends on the strength, the weight of the nullification. שאם יגדל המשכתו בריבוי יותר, אז יתלו ניצוצות ביותר. So if he brings down more nullification, then there's more weight on the right side, so more sparks can be lifted up. כי כל שיהיה המשכת הביטול בעצם יותר, אז יותר יתבטל גם יש גדול ביותר. And it also is not just how many sparks, it's how how powerful they are, how full of themselves, like they're stuck in a place where there's a feeling of self. V'zeu shehayud, this is what it means that the yud, which represents wisdom, is a weight. U'avna lemishkal et vav daled, that picks up the vav daled. So they're equal, they're 10, but you need to put down the 10 from the yud to lift up the vav daled, the other 10. Shemani tzotzot shenafluk, that they are the sparks that fell down. Kama italuk mo ayud pshuta. וכמשל המשקל שבכף האחד שמגביה כמשקלו, סחורה מן הארץ, שבכף שנית והסחורה מן ניצוצות העיקרים, דבב ד', אשר תשתפחנה בראש כל חוצות דנוגה דבייה, ובעשייה הגשמית. So these are, like we said 100 times already, this is the whole mashal of the weight of the scales. וכן מובן ממשל מצרף לכסף, שכל שיתרבה כוח השלבת יותר יפרדו חלקי השיגים, וכנ"ל בעניין דוקין שבעין ואמירת סלח לנו ב-18. So he just tells us all the parables we had. We had the scales, then before that we had the dross taken out of the gold. We talked about that the hotter the flame, the easier or the more dross comes out. And we also had the dukin shavayin. If you remember, we had this whole thing of that the blemishes and the what do you call them? The little the red capillaries, the capillaries in the eye, which become some kind of blemish. So we said that when something is under tremendous scrutiny, then that's when you feel it. Meaning when the heat is up, when you reach Shmonesrei, that's when you have to say Slach Lanu. That's when you have to. So this is really the end of chapter 2. And God willing, tomorrow we'll continue with chapter 3, which is a little bit longer, but then we should finish it by the end of Adar, I hope, which is exactly perfect. So.